All right, guys, we got a panel of experts. We are picking winners and losers on Bring a Trailer. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Maybe if I hit the button. Bid Nerds is your YouTube car game show. That's right. We pick the winners and losers. We disagree all the time, and you guys, our audience, the nerd out there, you guys are the ones that win. We're the losers. How you doing? My name is John Polnick. I am your host for Bid Nerds for the next hour, coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas, as well as my partner all the way over on the other side of the screen. That's Michael Deeb. He's in San Francisco. And in the middle tonight, we have Jason Roth joining us from my hometown, Seattle, Washington. Welcome to the show, Jason. How you doing, buddy?
Thanks for having me. Doing great. It's fun to be on here.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Jason, what's your deal? Yeah, let's go ahead, Deeb. You can do the intro.
Jason Roth is the state of Washington's newest car dealership. Jason, welcome to the grind. My partner, JP, is from Seattle and has done marketing for Volkswagen galore, but several different car dealerships up there for years. And then we worked together in Vegas doing some Porsche stuff. And now he can't get rid of me. I'm like family. I never go away. But Jason and I connected and just super cool kid. Just got his dealer license. Auto Avia is in Seattle. They are up and running. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to bring, one of the newest car guys in the state of Washington onto the show and play Bid Nerds with us, JP. Jason, congratulations. How long did it take for you to get your dealer license in Washington?
That's a great question. So for anyone wanting to get their dealer's license in Washington, I'd budget a year.
Whoa, crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Seattle
you for your
likes
patience.
the regulations, that's for sure. All right, guys. If you are new to the show, what we do here is we pick listings from Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, P-Car Markets, and some of the other online auction sites. We analyze those listings. We tell you what we think of those listings, not just what's interesting about the cars, but the listings in general. Are there pictures? Are there videos? How is this car listed or that car listed or trucks or whatever it's going to be? But we get into the nitty gritty, we go deep, and then we make predictions. And we always start off every episode by going to the last episode and we reconcile our predictions from before. So we put our money where our mouth is. We don't just throw a prediction out there and just move on to the next episode, hoping you guys will forget. We eat our predictions every time. So let's get to it. Michael Deeb, what was the first car that we made a prediction on the last episode? Let's do it.
All right, JP. I think we're going to open and circle back to the 1998 Lamborghini Diablo SV that was a premium listing on Bring a Trailer just a couple of days ago. Now, Ryan Friedman out of Glen Cove, New York is the seller, and they are famous for having an incredible inventory, particularly of rare air-cooled Porsches. But this car is a little different for them. This is a Lamborghini Diablo SV. So what we're talking about is a 5.7-liter mid-engine V12 with a 5-speed manual transmission and rear-wheel drive. I don't know how many they made of these, JP, but I bet you it's like 100 or less. They did not make a lot of these cars ever. So when you see one come up for sale, it is a bit of an occasion. I also think that the SV for this generation might have been a European-only car, as all of the comps that I found were in kilometers and not miles. But this car was titled out of Texas. It was offered out of Glen Cove, New York. And JP, while you and I both like the car, we didn't think that Ryan Friedman, who is a professional and have their own photo booth, we did not think they did a particularly good job with the assets or the presentation of this really special Lamborghini. So showing 45,000 kilometers, which turns out to be a whopping 28,000 miles. And I only say whopping because a lot of the Diablo SVs haven't traveled that far yet. We wondered how this one would do. So John, without further ado, our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price for the Lamborghini Diablo SV in the secondary market is around $315,000. I thought this car with the miles would come very close to the average and that the mileage would hold it back some. So my bid was $330,000. JP, you took the under. Your bid suggested that you didn't think it would quite reach 300 grand. Your bid came in at $299,999. So Jason, we're going to throw you right into the fire. First of all, have you ever gotten a ride or had the privilege of being behind the wheel of a Lamborghini Diablo of any nature? And then what do you think this car would have hammered for as a premium listing on Bring a Trailer? Go ahead, Jason. We'll put you on the spot. What do you got?
Have I ever had a ride in one? No. Have I dreamed of owning one, having a ride in it? Of course, every kid did in the 90s. My initial gut was even lower. It was 295. But we'll see. That is shooting from the hip. So
that's all right. Not bad. Not bad. So Jason comes in just under JP. This car, despite the what we call sort of substandard assets, actually did pretty well, John. It rallied there at the end. Our car sold for $353,000 on 34 bids. So, John, I was the high man at 330, and it got 20 grand more than that. The car did really well. Is it because they're so rare? Again, all the comps I saw were in kilometers, which lead me to believe these are almost all gray market cars. What do you make of that result?
Yeah, I think sometimes a car is so special that it outbids its listing. I mean, this listing was so horrible. We went over that over and over and over again on the last episode. This is an unforced error by a dealership that really should know better. You can't. The big question is how much would it have brought if the car was presented well, if the car did have good assets, if this thing was something that you really noticed. I mean, you got a $300,000 car and you're taking pictures with a cell phone. I mean, you've got it. There are hundreds of cars on any given day being sold on Bring a Trailer, and buyers are scrolling through them. They don't have a lot of. You have one picture to get people's attention, and you've got some. Your iPhone 13. You think you're gonna? The guy with a Volkswagen SP2 has a better shot at getting your attention than this stupid Diablo. Jason, what do you think of the result?
I don't follow the market on these things super close, but I'm looking at the background of these pictures, and a car like this needs a simple background. I think people get too in the weeds with having a park, a nice tree, this and that. I think it takes away from the car. I think the photo quality, you're right, they don't look horrible, but the parking garage shots are fun with your friends. You're doing a photo shoot in your car, but if you're selling the car, a simple background is going to make the car stand out more.
Yeah, boom. I mean, it's like, why do these guys try to get cute with the wrong equipment? I mean, you can do a really cool shot with a cool background, but it's all about separating the car from that background. If the background is just as in focus as the car, then what am I looking at, right? It's the difference between, I'm a professional photographer, I'm a professional filmmaker, and there's when you watch the news, right? The guy, they call it ENG, electronic news gathering, right? The guys that go out with the big cameras, they go out in the field, maybe they're in a war zone, or they're down the street and they're reporting on a building that's on fire, and the reporters out there. When they get that shot, you've got the reporter and he's holding his microphone, and the Dairy Queen behind him is burning down, and you've got the street sign, and you've got the Bed Bath & Beyond down the street, and everything's in focus. That's because the point of that shot is to give you reference and context. There's no hierarchy. Nothing is more important than, everything is of equal importance. When you watch a movie, what makes a film cinematic is when you see a character and they're in focus, and the car that's on fire behind them is less in focus, and then where they're at is even less in focus from there. That's because there's a hierarchy of what's important. What is your eye supposed to be looking at? And photos like these with a cell phone, that's the reason why you don't use a damn cell phone for this type of stuff. It just doesn't, people think that they're inexpensive, or, actually I shouldn't even say inexpensive. I mean, cell phones you can get a really nice DSLR for half the price of a new iPhone, right? And a good lens at that, but people think that the equipment is going to make them a great photographer, just like they think buying a Diablo is going to make them a great race car driver. If someone can't drive a stick, this car isn't getting out of the parking lot. If you don't know how to use a camera, stop. Just get someone who does, all right? Especially if you want.
It's worth the money. It's worth the money. Pay someone to do it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Words of wisdom. All right, there it is.
Also, it's not an art project or selling a car, and I think photographers also need to remember that, because they want to put their spin on stuff sometimes, and it's like the point of this is to sell this car. So
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. What do you guys think of the results of this Diablo SV? Was that a good number? Do you think it could have brought more if the assets were better? Or do you think that's just all the money anyway? Let us know in the comments below. And who won that one in the nerd herd there,
Dana,
guys?
Dana K.
All right.
Dana K beat Randy by 1,000. Dana K missed a Yahtzee by 2,000. Well done, because that car was nowhere near that number. So that was quite the bid. Everybody was, all those high bidders, the car came to them. So well done, Dana.
Hey, I don't want to just linger on this car, but the one thing that you mentioned, Deeb, is, this particular, the SV version is a 2-wheel drive, the rear wheel version.
Right.
Most of the other ones were all-wheel drive, correct? Or was it just a certain era of those? Who knows the answer to that one? Maybe someone in the
I
nerd
don't know
knows
the answer to that. We need a Lamborghini nerd to chime in, or some supercar freak. Maybe Supercar Blondie's watching and she can chime in.
The reason why I wanted to bring that up wasn't just okay, here's an interesting fact, but parts availability for classic cars are always a problem no matter what. And I know that these Lamborghinis, particularly the Diablo, the all-wheel drive one, that viscous transmission, the differential that they use for all-wheel drive, like when those fail, they are like, no one is making replacements. So, it's one of those things where you would literally have to hire an engineer, someone with a CNC machine, and build one from scratch. If it's even possible.
Hope you can fabricate, right?
Yeah, but it's not just a piece of steel. It's like a bunch of components that it's more than that. So I gotta think that the value of the regular Diablos are, at some point that's gotta affect them. But I don't know. Again, too much time on the Diablo. Let's move on. What was the next car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, we are going to circle back to the 1994 Porsche 911 Speedster with just 16,000 miles that ran again as a premium listing on Bring a Trailer out of San Francisco. Now, JP, this car is owned by our friend Sebastian. Sebastian bought the car last year off the Central Coast. Low mileage car. It was one owner up until the point Sebastian bought it. Sebastian bought the car, put some money into it, and really cleaned it up, repainted the wheels, and messed with the leather, and did some things with the suspension, and really kind of got the car dialed in. Decided to sell the car, JP, in his defense, because he decided to buy a 964 project car and make like a build. And so he was going to cash his new Speedster out. But he loved that you were picking on him the other day, and had a lot of fun listening to the show. So the big news was Sebastian buys the car. He invests some money in it. Is he going to come out on top? Is the car going to sell? And is he going to be made whole? So, JP, when we look at the values, Classic.com tells us that 964 Speedsters tend to sell for $199,300. I thought Sebastian's car, with the low miles and the fresh look, had a chance to get to exactly that number. My bid was $200,000 even. JP, you took the over, and your bid came in at $210,000. Jason, we know you know a few things about Porsches. What do you think a low mileage, most of its life it's been a one-owner car, although it's a two-owner example. The car transacted a year ago. I don't know if you think that sort of helps or hurts the car when it comes to the auction platform and that sort of thing. But a low mileage 964 Speedster in white with the white wheels, what do you think this car would have brought on BAT the other day?
I think that it does help, and it does hurt, but that's where explaining yourself on Bring a Trailer is good. Got to be there right when they ask the question, hey, why did you just buy this? I don't really like the Speedsters. I think they're cool. My dad had a 356 Speedster, so I'm kind of partial to like the original one. Man, I don't know. Did it break 200? I think it did not. I'm sorry to be a pessimist today, but I'm going to go 195. 195.
So Jason takes the under, JP, and the rookie gets the win.
Boom.
Our car hammered for $178,500, where the car sold on 30 bids. So JP, if you had told me that the car would have hammered at $178,500, I would have thought either no sale, or at the selling point, BAT would have like maybe covered, looks like maybe, in my mind, like $1,500 to meet a reserve that I would assume was somewhere in that $180,000 range. Doesn't matter. The car sold. Sebastian made money, not as much as he would have liked, and certainly not as much as I thought he was going to get. However, the car sold, the car transacted, and it's on its way to a new home. Are you surprised that it came in, just under 180,000 bucks?
Well, I mean, I made a bid, obviously, for significantly more than that as we were doing the show. But, you were holding out, Deeb. You mentioned that after the fact that there are a number of other white ones on the market. And one thing that I mentioned on the last episode, too, is that it is odd to me, still to this day, and I still don't understand why, when the 964 is the most popular air-cooled variant of the 911, that the 964 version of the Speedster comes in generally for significantly less money than the G-body version of the Speedster. I know that the G-bodies are almost all wide body, but I mean, the 964 is just such a great driving experience. And to have that little windshield, I mean, if you are a convertible person, this is kind of the ultimate convertible. Don't be a cabrio phobe out there. And I gave Sebastian a hard time
in Seattle, we're all cabrio phobes.
Well, I mean, that's it, bro. I had a convertible up there for years, and that was my jam, right? I was the guy with the top down when it was raining, just drive faster, and
how many species of mold was there growing in the back seat?
There, drive even faster, and then put it in a garage. There it was. My first car was a Fiat Spyder back in the 80s, and that thing, I didn't have a garage. There was definitely mold in the back of that thing when it was actually running. Okay, so anyways, the Speedster, Sebastian, thanks for being a good sport. I gave you a hard time. You are a cabrio phobe, so I think that's basically the cabrio gods kind of godsmacked you on that one. I think you would have brought more money if they didn't know that you were such a, I mean, you're not even a closet cabrio phobe. You're just you're just like out there with it. But this car is a beautiful car. There's a bunch of them in the market, and the 964 Speedsters just don't bring the money like the G-bodies do for some reason. And which is fine to me, honestly, because I think that gives a guy like me, I really want one of these. Do you remember, Jason, there used to be, I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but there was a black one running around Seattle in probably like 2010 to 2013. He was one of the PCA guys, but a younger guy like you. Anyways, I don't know. I remember him buying that car. They used to be 964 Speedsters. 964s in general used to be so cheap. But, I mean, $30,000 for a 964 Speedster. People were like, "Oh, that's crazy. You can get a regular 964 for $14,000. Why would you pay twice as much for the Speedster?" Well, now they're worth the cheapest way to get an RS. All right, let us know what you guys think of the results of this Speedster. Did Sebastian do the right thing by taking the money and running, or should he have held out? And how could he have gotten more money if that was possible? If you think it was possible, let us know. And Deeb, what's the next car on the list?
All right, JP, one more really fun car. We're going to take a look at the 1998 Dodge Viper GTS GT2 Championship Edition. Our car, showing just 11,000 miles from new, was listed also on Bring a Trailer out of Queen Creek, Arizona. They made 100 of these examples to commemorate their winning the GT2 Championship in Europe, which is a big deal for the American car company. Our car is number 12 out of those 100. And again, the odometer is just 11,000 miles. All the cars were painted in this livery, which was an homage to the Oreca team cars as they went to Europe and kicked all the Porsches and Astons and Ferraris and everything else that went out there. The Vipers cleaned house for a number of years. So there's no shortage of special editions of the Vipers, but boy, anytime you get into the race car stuff and add some wheels and a high wing, JP, the cars start to bring what you and I would coin as stupid money. So, John, these cars have done really well in the secondary market. They've continued to go up and prove to be pretty valuable investments, like relatively investment grade. According to Classic.car, the average selling price for the GTS R Championship Edition is $145,200. John, I thought this car with the low miles and coming to market right on the cusp of spring and the beginning of sort of car season, I thought it was going to do well. So I kicked all the way to $198,000. You tempered your bid and stayed closer to the classic average. In fact, your bid was $145,000. So, Jason, what do you think this special edition of the Viper would have done with 11,000 miles on BAT and let's call them substandard assets? What do you think?
I'm gonna go in the middle of that. Let's say 185. I had an RC car with the same paint scheme, with like kind of the BBS LM style wheels on it. I love that car. I mean, I love a Viper.
Yeah. All right, so he's splitting the difference with us. JP, you definitely used your crystal ball on this one. Our car hammered for just $118,000, where it failed to sell on just 14 bids. So JP, the two winning cars, both from Bring a Trailer in the same week range as this car, all got 30 bids and sold. This car got less than half the bid count and got nowhere near even the classic reserve. So do you think it was the assets? Do you think it's the fact that it's a Viper? Is there anything that we can glean just from our quick perusal of these photos to imply why this car failed so poorly? I mean, the assets are pretty poor. The car's cool, but
yeah. I mean, this is one of those cars where, I mean, look, the people that generally want these, they have that kind of Corvette aesthetic. So the guy that's looking at this, he has the chair that he's gonna, put next to this car when he goes to the car show. He's getting his placards ready to have all the information, because people need to know how much horsepower the car came with from the factory when they're walking around a car show, because that's just like, people want to know that sort of thing, except that they don't. So I think the assets for this car are fine, because the buyer for this car doesn't care. They're not an aesthetic person in the first place. But at the same time, I think that the buyer for this car is decidedly older. For some reason, these cars don't really fit into that old timer kind of, or I'm sorry, young timer kind of mode. It feels
I take
like
offense to this.
Okay, good. Yeah, you need this, right? You got your white socks.
Like, I want one.
You got your white socks on with your New Balance. I'm trying to get
the grass stained New Balance.
Yeah, come on, right? And your Tommy Bahama shirt with a with
Honestly,
the
sounds good.
With pictures of the car on your Tommy, like little Vipers all over it.
GTSRs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think the people, like, generally, because I think the potential buyer for this is the audience is going to be a little bit older, with some exceptions, of course. I think those guys are the ones that particular market is the most heavily affected by any of the trepidation that there might be for the economy right now. People have varying ideas of what's going to happen in the economy. Depends on who you ask. One person thinks everything's about to just go, down the spiral. Other people think, the floodgates are going to be open and everything's going to be great. There doesn't seem to be a lot of the middle, but it does seem like older folks are on the, better clutch those pearls. I'm not letting go $180,000 for the Viper that they want. They're happy to spend that $35 for that fold-up chair, though. Jason, you got your fold-up chair ready to go. What do you think?
I'm sitting in it.
Yeah, love it.
I don't know. I like this car. I mean, I've always thought Vipers are cool. The two cars I had as a poster were 993 Turbo and a Viper GTS. So those are my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, that's kind of my point. It's not about necessarily whether you like this car, because frankly, I like this car. I'm a Viper fan.
Well, I'm not going out and buying one.
Right.
So
are you putting $180 down for one of these? I think there's so many other cars on the list before you get this car that the person whose list does have this at the top is not parting with their $180,000.
I want to be one of those guys secretly with the poster board at the car show, just sitting next to my car, going, it's all laminated. Like,
oh man,
I like that a little bit. It's like guilty pleasure.
We had a guy, I know, Deeb, you had Cars and Cafe in San Francisco. We had ours in Las Vegas today.
Pouring rain.
You had pouring rain, really? We had a guy show up in a Porsche 928 today. I'm calling you out, bro. And everyone, the whole day, people were like, GP, that 928 has a placard on the window. What the hell? You got to get rid of that guy. Everyone kind of knows that that's just like totally against the Carzoon Cafe ethos. No placards. Luckily, he didn't have the lawn chair next to it. Like, really?
JP,
185 horsepower? Thanks, buddy.
JP, we had showers all morning, and I cannot explain to you. We had a fantastic turnout. I had like 30 cars. We probably had 40 over the day, but easily 30, 40 cars. in the rain, people standing around having donuts, and it was just like light showers, and then it would stop for a few minutes, and then light showers and stop for a minute. Nobody panicked, nobody freaked out. Everybody had a good time. We ate all the donuts and poured like 70 cups of coffee. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. So John, what's wrong with these people? I can't believe they showed
car
up.
people are nuts.
What,
Jason, you got to
what
start
are you
doing
doing
Cars
here?
and Cafe up in Seattle. We got to get a chapter going up there. I mean, it's my hometown for crying out loud.
I would love to do it. We're kind of saturated with Cars and Coffee, although I will say some of them are so popular that the city's getting involved and kind of shutting them down. So we do need to branch out, and I do have some good locations in mind, so we should talk about that.
I mean, that's the point of
go.
Cars and Cafe is that it's not Cars and Coffee. Cars and Coffee is
Sometimes
for
I-
everybody. We're
I
all
bring
about
my,
classic old Porsches and old Euro stuff, and you pick a small spot, not a big spot. So everybody has to get there early, and if they don't get their spot, too bad.
Volkswagen SP2s.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll bring those. They'll be brought on a trailer though. No, I bring my camper van sometimes and making coffee out of that. That's fun.
That's great.
Cool.
Nice. You'd be
Very
totally
cool.
welcome at Cars and Cafe. All right, guys, we are going to make new predictions. We're just getting started. This show is just beginning. Stick around and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to be back in about 30 seconds. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. All right, guys, we are back. Thanks for sticking around. We're still live on Bid Nerds. This is the good part where we get to predictions. We're a bunch of experts, supposedly, but you guys are the audience, and you guys tend to know more than we do. So play along as we make predictions. Put those predictions in the live chat. It's a lot of fun to be able to go and see what you guys think versus what we think. We're always disagreeing with one another, but we never disagree with the Nerd Herd because the Nerd Herd's always right, unless it's Anthony Vieira, our good friend from Our Smiths. He's great at making watches, but he's terrible at picking cars. Let me just tell you. I love you, Anthony. You know, I'm throwing you shade.
Anthony was out at dinner before the show and said he was going to arrive late. So, JP, I'm going to defend our buddy Anthony Vieira because he's not here to defend himself. How dare you insult our sugar daddy?
Guffaw, guffaw. Everybody clutch pearls. All right, it is time to get to it. We're going to go over some really cool listings tonight. One of the things I want you guys to do, it's always great when we see the Nerd Herd commenting on the listings in the comment sections on Bring a Trailer that they heard of the car on Bid Nerds. So make sure you go to the listings and say, hey, they talked about this car on Bid Nerds. It was great, or it wasn't, or whatever. That's a lot of fun, except it doesn't work on P-Car Market because they won't let that happen. I've tried and watched them delete my comments. Pretty funny, but
in real time.
In real time, yeah.
In real time. I have a feeling they have a special button in Oyster Point in the brick and mortar that every time you're logged on live, there's
a light's going off in the corner somewhere.
There's somebody, JP, there's somebody with their finger on the dump button, right? Like just ready to squash your comment. Hilarious.
So true. All right, let's get to the first car on the list. Let's make some predictions, and let's see if you guys out there in the audience can do a better job at predicting the hammer results on these cars. What's the first one on the list, Deeb?
All right, JP, is it German? Is it Italian? You have selected for us for the Cabrio lover in your life this 2008 Lamborghini Gallardo Spyder with a 6-speed manual transmission. One of the early ones, JP. The 2008 is an early car. Our car is located out of Jacksonville, Florida, and listed on Bring a Trailer, showing 31,000 miles from new. Now, this particular car, JP, is a veteran, an alumni, I should say, of Bring a Trailer. It ran no reserve back in March of 2023, so 2 years ago. At that time, JP, it looked like it had a matte black wrap on it. But again, the black and white interior, manual transmission, the black shiny wheels. The car at that time, JP, sold for $128,000. Our car is closing tomorrow, and it's already sitting at $105,000. I say, JP, that this isn't a bad time to sell at our. So that looks to me like the manual R8s and the manual Lamborghini Gallardos are continuing to move despite a soft market overall. I think these 3-pedal Gallardos and R8s are continuing to increase in value. So at 128,000 2 years ago, however many miles he put on the car, still showing 31,000 miles. So it's unfortunate that he didn't drive it, because I think he could have put 10,000 miles on this car and still sold it for more money. That's what I think. I think this car is going to do pretty well here when it hammers tomorrow. JP, super fun car, V10, 500 horsepower. These are all-wheel drive, but they're fantastic drivers. You had an R8 with the V10, and even though that you had like the automatic transmission, you loved that car, and it was bright yellow, like the last color I could possibly imagine you owning for any period of time. And, rumor has it you smiled every time you got behind the wheel of that car. This is this car's, basically stepbrother. And, with the 3 pedals, JP, these cars are just, I think they're good investments. You could go and buy one, drive it, take care of it, put miles on it, and I think you're going to sell it for what you bought it for, or you're going to make money because they just keep going up and up. So, JP, I pass the ball right over to you. You know these cars really well. Have you driven the Lamborghini version? Have you driven one of the V10s of either with that gated manual, which would make it even that much more fun to own? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's so funny looking at these. It's like the pictures never do these justice. The big question everyone is like, have these aged well or not? And boy, when you ask that question, you get a lot of different answers. To me, this thing looks like in the pictures, it looks like, some kind of like mechanical shaving, like a bronze shaver or something like that. Like you buzz your, trim your beard and all that stuff. But in real life, they look fantastic. And I picked this one today because I literally saw one yesterday parked in Boca Park here in Las Vegas. And it was black on black, just like this one. I saw the listing. I'm like, going, is that the same car? Maybe you guys can help me out here. Are those wheels the stock wheels, or are those from a newer one? They seem like they're those aren't the period correct, but that's a side point. Yes, in answer to your question, I have driven these. They're absolutely wonderful. I think that they have aged well. They don't look like anything that anyone makes right now, and that's what I like about it. Our good friends at Lamborghini Las Vegas invited us to the Temerario launch. They just launched the new replacement of the Hurricane. No one knows how to, pronounce it. Even the people that work there. Even the marketing director for Lamborghini North America, when he was introducing the car, he said, when I heard that it was going to be called this Temerario or whatever, he's like, damn, I'm not going to be able to pronounce that car for the next 10 years. So even Lamborghini is admitting that no one knows how to pronounce it. But look, that thing's a hybrid. It's got all kinds of buttons and gizmos and whiz-bang stuff, and you can keep it. I couldn't care less. I'd rather have this car. There's nothing Lamborghini makes, including SVJs or any of that stuff, that I'd rather have than this 3-pedal gated Gallardo right here. Jason, what do you think of the Gallardo convertible with 3 pedals?
Well, we talked about convertibles. I mean, I'm not a fan, but that might just be because I haven't left Seattle yet, where it's raining every day. Actually, not today. So it's interesting. San Francisco had a good weather day. Our Cars and Coffee today was sunshine. Interesting fact. But no, a gated shifter, 3-pedal car from an era that I think produced a lot of good cars. Tech was like a sweet spot. Nothing was overly complicated. There wasn't as much crazy regulation. I love the car. Don't really know on price. I'm kind of
we're not ready for price yet. We'll get to the numbers.
I'm still thinking about it, but I like it. I mean, I think the shape is cool. I just love cars from that era. Sort of like after that, everything got overly complicated, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you think it's aged well? I mean, what do you think?
I like it. I like the simplicity of the headlights. I mean, I like a black car. I'd change the wheels, but I like the car.
Yeah, no one's hopped in and said whether or not those are the stock wheels or not.
They are, JP. From 2004 to 2014, the 19-inch Callisto wheels, I think, were the option wheel. JP, remember, a lot of these cars came with a wheel that looked like the Audi Avis wheel, which I think was only 18-inch. Maybe it was also 19-inch. but the Callisto, I think, with the multi-piece was the option wheel. So these are period correct for the car. So chances are this car was optioned with the Callistos. So there you go.
What's it going to bring?
All right, JP. So according to our friends at classic.com, Lamborghini Gallardo Spyders in the secondary market only bring about $105,700, but that number is not differentiated between the automatic versions and the manual versions. And JP, we know that the manuals are bringing a premium. Our car sold back in March of 2023 for $128,000. It's currently, as it runs a second time out of Jacksonville, Florida, it's currently at $105,000. That comes to us by way of 14 bids, and it does close tomorrow. JP, I think the tea leaves are strong for this one. I think this car is going to do really well. I'm coming in at $146,000, where I think it'll sell. And at 146 with fair miles, and it's back to its original black paint and all the doodads, I think it's be well bought at 146. So JP, you going to come in over me?
Yeah, for sure. I think the timing is right for this car. 3 pedals, top down. It's we're coming into spring. The weather's going to be getting better here, much just around the corner. It's already great in a lot of places. I'm not gonna go crazy over the top of you. I'm gonna go 149,999 and give Jason a shot here. What do you think?
My gut says $1.25. I hope it goes over that, but I think
so. You don't think it'll bring what it brought last time? So it went for 128 2 years ago, and you don't think it's going to match that number, huh?
I just feel like $1.25, but again, like around here, you just don't see a car like that. So when I think of like the buyers I interact with around here, and you know, where you are in San Francisco and Vegas it's a whole different world. But I'm gonna go low. I'll say $1.25. And if the seller is watching, sorry.
The rain in Seattle is tempering Jason's bid because it's a convertible.
100%.
If it were a coupe, you think it would have brought money? Yeah, all right, fair enough. All right.
Well, yeah, if this is a coupe, this is a $200,000 car. I mean, as much of a, you know, I love cabs, but one of the things I love about cabs is they're way less expensive than coupes, and you get the same car and you get the benefit of the top going up and down. I think it's just, I think it's a tax on stupid car enthusiasts that will pay almost twice as much for a coupe. And I love it because I'm the smart guy. I feel like I'm the smart guy for a change.
How do you feel when you're driving a cabriolet and everyone's looking at you? I'm like, I'm in my car in my Zen spot. I just want to drive the car, have a nice Sunday, and then you get people staring at you, especially in Seattle.
You sound pretty self-conscious there. I think that's kind of a Seattle thing. Oh, he left. He's like, I'm out. I can't take that. He's just muting himself. I think he has Jason, you can't take the heat. See, he's like, people are looking at you right now. How do you feel? I mean, that's the whole reason people buy convertibles. It's not about other people looking. It's what it feels like. And I love giving okay, since he's new, Deeb, I'll give it to him really quick. Dog people and cat people. If you're a dog person or a cat person, right? Cats like to hide in boxes. They're scared of the world. If you give them a small space, a cat will get inside of it and peer out with his little eyes and look at it, everything, and just be like... Whereas dogs, what happens when you put a dog in a car? He immediately sticks his head out the window. He wants to hang out with his friends. He wants to eat his own poop. Dog people are better than cat people. Cabrios are for dog people. Coupes are for, you know, people are just scared of the world and want to hide away, and are scared if somebody looks at them.
I have JP. My dog rides in my dog rides in my 912 with me, and it's a coupe, and he just sits right there.
Well, yeah, because you don't give him the option to put the top down. He's a dog. He can't go, hey, dude, get a cab, because it'd be way more fun for both of us. There is a problem. Your dog would enjoy the convertible far more than he does the coupe, as much as he enjoys the coupe.
I got to figure out a way. I do want to figure out a way for him to get on the back of my BMW GS. I want to figure that out, because that'd be like the ultimate dog ride, I think.
Love it. Love it. Send us a picture of your dog. Dogs and cars are just the best thing ever. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. All right. What do we got? What's next, Dave?
Let's see what Jason thinks about a convertible in New Orleans. Our good friend Chris Carbine has brought to market this 2002 BMW Z8 in the very special color of topaz blue metallic. John, our car is listed on Cars and Bids, Doug DeMiro's site, and is listed, of course, out of New Orleans, Louisiana, showing 28,000 miles on the odometer. Chris Carbine's client and local, Chris's dealership is based out of a car club that does storage and stuff. So the gentleman who owns this car is both a friend and a client to Chris and a member of the club down there. The gentleman who owns this car I have met and is a wonderful guy. And brings, I wrote a little diatribe in the listing here, JP, but he brings one of these like blank checks to the car. Like, I got the car, I'm gonna bring it home. Let's shake it down and see what it needs. And he took care of everything. So new headliner and hood struts. And there's a laundry list of things that have been addressed and replaced. And all of the service and maintenance are up to date. So JP, this car has basically been treated to like the recondition you'd expect at a Highline dealership in preparation for the front line. And just look at it, John. Like, the car looks, I know blue isn't your color, but like, this thing's on the Alpina wheels. It's a manual transmission, and the color is a premium, colorway for the car. So just an awesome listing. I got, as I opened up my computer, I got the Cars and Bids weekly email, and this car was at the top of Doug DeMiro's email. And also in the middle of the week, I don't know how many of you in the Nerd Herd get Doug DeMiro's, like if you're on the mailing list for Cars and Bids, you get like their daily emails, but Doug DeMiro does like these off emails. Doug did a whole thing about like his top 20 sellers, and Carbine Motorsports, and I'm doing this from memory, but I think they were like number 13 on the list, and listed their year to date of like a rolling calendar of how much they had sold. So shout out to Chris, a feather in his cap that he is absolutely one of Cars and Bids, like, favorite sellers, and as such has marketed, some of his listings twice in the last week. So we have a premium car here, something that is not common on Cars and Bids, but we expect this car to do well. Like you said, JP, with the Lamborghini, sometimes a car is just so special it can outperform its own listing or its own platform and that sort of thing. And certainly, I would love to see a car like this to a bigger audience or even at a live auction. But Chris has a great relationship with Cars and Bids. Cars and Bids has a great relationship with Carbine Motor Cars. And this car has been brought to market, and I think it's going to do really well here. So JP, Z8s are good. They haven't brought crazy money, but there is a value add on the price guide for Topaz Blue. So this is, kind of like a little bit of a unicorn in that regard. And again, the owner of the car has done everything that this car needs. This car needs nothing. It's turnkey, it's investment grade, it's ready to go, and it's being listed by a reputable seller. So John, what do you think of the car? And then we'll get into some of the money.
Yeah, shout out to Chris Carbine, our resident Walmart greeter there in the Nerd Herd right now, saying hello to everyone. Chris, you are the man. Thank you for being our guy, our ambassador out there. This is a beautiful car. I'm going to say it. I don't like the color, but that's me personally. There is a market for this color. People love this color. This kind of hearing aid beige interior, I can't get past.
Oh, come on.
That weird.
I know, right?
It's not even tan. It's like this kind of like, it's like beige with some gray to it. It's so bad, but
it's champagne.
It's not even champagne. Champagne has more like brown to it or something like that. This is just, yeah. I mean, I don't know, whatever. But again, that's me. I'll be the first to admit that I am the weird one. I'm the odd one out, not liking this color combo. I will fully recognize that this is a very popular color combo, and I think that people are going to scramble with this car. Jason, what do you think of this thing?
Hold on, Jason, 1 second.
Yeah.
First, it has to be a convertible, Jason.
Yeah.
But if it's a convertible, then it has to have the right color interior.
Yeah.
Or it's not even.
I'm
it doesn't even matter
picky.
that it's a convertible.
Very easy. Black on black. Cheeseburger with ketchup. What else do you need? It's just, I'm a basic bitch. Whole milk on your latte.
Jason, our producer, is a diva, and he's from Seattle. You don't have any of that, do you?
I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I'm pretty picky myself. I love this car though. I always love the Alpina wheels. I like that it's not an Alpina, so it's a stick. But I'm looking at this thing like, how can I eventually get one of these cars? I love the color actually. It's similar to a 993 I have right now, but I kind of wish that the interior wasn't paint matched. I do like the old man color interior, but I'm also starting to like gold cars as I get older, so I'm all screwed up. I'm gonna go crazy here.
Well, we're not ready for numbers. We're not ready for numbers yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Deeb,
All right,
go.
all right.
Yeah. What do you think, Deeb?
All right. So a couple things. All right. JP, according to our friends at classic.com, BMW Z8s typically sell for $211,900. So they're just over 200 grand. According to our friends at Haggerty, though, when you look at the price guide for Haggerty, Haggerty says in the addendum that there is a plus 25% value add for this color, topaz blue alone. And that's what we have here. We have one of those special colors. So by that rationale, this car should bring 25% more money. I think with the presentation, the reputation, the fact that everything on this car has been addressed, the second set of wheels, and the fact that it's topaz blue, I think this car is going to do really well. JP, my bid for this car when it hammers will be $250,000, where I believe it will sell. John, what's your bid?
Man, these are so great. I mean, and they just keep going up in value. This is one of those cars. We were talking before the show started about being up in Seattle, and you know that era of time when you can still get 964s for next to nothing. And this was one of those cars that when everything dipped down in like that 2008, 9, and 10 era, when you could gobble everything up, these never got cheap, or at least they were relatively cheap to now. Like, you know, they were like $80,000 or $90,000, which is nothing compared to what they bring now. But back then, $80,000 or $90,000 was crazy. For, you know, like when these came out too, I don't know if you remember, Deeb, the SL 500, the Mercedes, the R129 was kind of like the new revamp of that car. And those came out, and those were more expensive, you know, at the dealership, brand new, than these were. Yet those plummeted in value immediately, whereas these, you know, these things they've just commanded the money. And I think it's just because they just hardly made any of them. And of course, they have 3 pedals. This is basically a convertible M5, which they never made. It's the car that BMW did make, but didn't call it an M5. So I love this thing. I think it's going to bring big money. Your number was what, 250?
250.
250. I'll go over you. I'm gonna go $250,008. I'm just gonna go literally $8 over you and see where Jason lands on this thing. What do you think, Jason?
I have a feeling on this car, a couple people are gonna fall in love with it and duke it out at the end. So I'm gonna go 265.
Woo! There we go.
Big numbers, big money.
I like this car. I really like it.
Yeah. Yeah, if that happens, Chris Carbine's going to send you a bouquet of flowers and a basket of fruit from New Orleans. You'll see. He's going to be like,
send my address.
Jason's my guy. Jason's my guy. Yeah, watch that.
What do you think, Jason? Do you think he'd be better off being on BAT? Or do you think the Cars and Bids, Doug DeMuro's going to get it done over here?
It depends. I look at both all the time, and it just depends on the car. So I don't have an opinion on that. I don't have a good opinion on that. A friend of mine sold a 993 Turbo on Cars and Bids, and it did extraordinarily well. So, you know, before that, I would have said better on Bring a Trailer, but you never know what happens. I think people are chasing the cars these days and less the sites more and more. So, you know, people love Z8s. People are into BMWs or really into BMWs. They're going to find the car if they want the car, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's some truth to that. The thing that always surprises us, and we do this show, you know, twice a week, and we've been doing it for quite a while. I'm still shocked that dealers aren't even aware of what, you know, Bring a Trailer is, and they're even less aware of what Cars and Bids and P-Car Market.
Well, don't tell them.
Well, right, there's an opportunity to get some deals, right? But I don't know. I wonder if some of these other platforms are even going to make it. We heard a rumor that P-Car Market got sold. There's all kinds of stuff swirling around out there. All right, we've still got time to do another car. Let's do another one, Deep. Hey, before we go, though, Chris, we are rooting for you. I hope you get way more money than we say. Beautiful car. Definitely go on to the listing. If you're watching the show, go on to Cars and Bids and say some nice things about the car and about Chris, and let's get this thing over the line for him. All right, what's the next car on the list, Michael Deeb? What do you got?
John, pick the car for me. Do you want to do the van or the Spyder?
Let's do the van, since we've been kind of convertible heavy here.
All right. Way out of our comfort zone, JP, is this 1994 GMC Vandura 3500. The A-Team van replica.
This is my league right here.
Is this hilarious? So It's got a 5.7 liter V8 and it's dry climate owned, according to Doug DeMiro. So yeah, if you're on Cars and Bids and you miss out on the Z8, you can just pop on over to this listing and put a bid down for an A-Team replica van. JP, our car is showing 142,000 miles from new and is listed in your backyard in Henderson, Nevada. Again, it's got a big V8 and they basically made this car, this platform, JP, from like the 70s to like 2014. I mean, the stretch on these cars is really, really long. They did not do a lot of updates on this car. So 70s technology in a van that was built in the 90s, which always cracks me up. But that was just the norm from our childhood, JP. But the big thing here is that somebody took their van and went and gave it sort of that A-Team livery from the TV show that our generation loved, with Mr. T and all that sort of thing. So there you go, JP. I have never found that celebrity cars or look-alike cars have ever done really well. The occasional Bullet replica, Eleanor's kind of give me a headache. They're such bad makeovers. But like Starsky and Hutch and General Lee's and these things, I mean, it's cute to look at, but like I would never ever want to own a car from a TV show. Would you?
Yeah, I mean, I saw this thing and immediately thought the Rami show. We're like, okay, Rami and I need to buy this and just literally blow it up. You only own something like this, ironically, right? Nobody, like you said, nobody's buying this to use it for any normal car purposes other than to be, use it for their YouTube channel or some Instagram, swag, or to just do something crazy on YouTube and like literally blow it up. Unfortunately, Rami and I didn't have time to go out and look at it. It is in our backyard, but I do pity the fool that winds up with this thing because it does seem kind of like a piece of crap. Had to drop that in there. Jason, what do you think of this thing? You need this car in Seattle.
Okay, I love vans, first of all. I just sold a 1-ton, 3 on the tree, Ford Econoline with a 300 inline 6 that was painted like a zebra. So I might be the perfect guy to speak on this thing, actually.
I learned to drive in a Dodge travel van, 3 in the tree, man. That's you
3 in the tree.
You learn to drive in a 3 in the tree, you can drive anything after that. You can drive a tractor.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. No, I think there's a base price for a 3/4 ton van with no rust. Forget the A-Team. Forget the spoiler.
Yeah.
If that van, if you could use it as a moto hauling van or a work van, it's 6 to. Oh, we weren't talking price, but there is a value in. There is a value in it as a van. Okay, so like,
you can start the numbers here. Go ahead. What do you think? What's your number? Give us a number.
Okay, I think a base price on a working 3/4 ton or 1 ton, because that's got 8 lug van with that with the deer guard on it or whatever. I mean, it's $8,500, and plus it's got a spoiler. Add $1,000 for the spoiler. I mean,
there you go, Deeb. What do you think?
Shit, I would rock it.
So 9,500 is his bid, right? Am I doing that right?
I'm doing 8,500. 8,500.
8,500. Okay, so boom, 8,500 for Jason. So according to our friends at Classics.com, 1994 GMC Vandura 3500s typically brings $17,000 in the secondary market, which I thought was ludicrous. JP, I don't think our car is going to break 10,000. Our car is currently sitting at $3,600 and it closes in 2 days from now. That comes by way of 6 bids. I don't think it's going to break 10 grand. So I'm going to give you my bid of $9,800 and pass it to you, John. Where you at?
Yeah, this car, it's interesting that you mentioned, Jason, the idea of a toy hauler. This is perfect for Vegas here for someone to put their dirt bikes in there or something like that. And I'm with you. I would totally rock this. This would be tons of fun to just, and I do like vans too. I've been kind of like looking for something like a camper type of thing, but that's a whole other story. I don't think Cars and Bids is going to get this done. I think this needs to be on BAT, or honestly, I think the best place for this thing is is Facebook Marketplace. I mean, this car would bring more money on Craigslist than it will on Cars and Bids or Bring a Trailer. It's too cheap a car to really benefit from the kind of audience you get on these platforms. Somebody that's looking at Cars and Bids in Detroit or Florida, they might think, oh, that'd be really cool if this car were down the street or at, I saw it at the 7-Eleven for the for sale sign on it. But they're not gonna ship this thing for $1,500 or $2,000 when it's only an $8,000 car. So my number, and it's Cars and Bids, it's got a day to go. It's only at what, $3,300. We never see him double in the last day. So I'm gonna say $4,500. I don't think this thing gets anywhere.
There we go.
I think you made some good. Can I say one thing real quick? I think you made some good point, and I think Cars and Bids, like there's all these companies coming out trying to do auctions. People need to be careful what cars they're putting on their sites. I think because if you don't follow stuff and you don't find the humor in it, and you're like, where should I list my car? And you go there and this pops up, you might go somewhere else.
Right. I mean, the listing right next to this is the most beautiful BMW Z8 you've ever seen. It's like, what the hell, man? I mean, you don't go to, like, when you go to the crappy outlet mall and you've got like, the store, the Guess. They don't have Guess jeans. They have like Guess Who jeans or whatever. There's some like Chinese knockoff brand or whatever, right? You don't go there expecting to get a Chanel bag or something. You have to go to the nice mall to get those brands. You would never put something crappy. You would never put like the Guess store next to something like Hermes or something like that. So I don't know.
Doug DeMuro does.
Doug DeMuro does because he's a weirdo. He looks like something that I've mentioned before and gets everybody all freaked out. But Doug DeMuro doesn't have an aesthetic bone in his body. The guy it goes right over his head and to his detriment. And I think that's why their platform is having such a hard time. All right, how much time we got here? You want to do this last car here? We got 2 minutes to do this last car. Let's bust it out. Boom, go.
All right, JP. In 1996, Alfa Romeo Spyder Twin Spark. John, our car was listed. So it's an Alfa Romeo.
Oh, we lost Deeb. All right, Deeb's saying forget it. Jason, he's back. He's back. Quick, go.
Okay, yeah. All right, JP. So the Twin Spark is listed out of, let me read it to you real quick. It's listed out, Bring a Trailer out of Phoenix, Arizona. And the car sold in January at auction for $8,000. And then it went to another auction and failed to sell at $12,000. So this car's had a very weird year. It has
How much is it going to bring? To go, How much is it going to bring?
And it's currently at $7,700. JP, I think the car is going to bring $10,800. Where are you at?
This car is just too weird. Nobody knows what it is. It's neat. I really wanted to discuss this car a little bit more, so I'm just bringing it up now so that we can talk more about it on the other side when we come back. What was your number, Deebs? What, 77?
10-8.
10-8. I'll give it 9-8 and give it to Jason. Give me a number real quick, Jason.
12-5, and I kind of want it.
And he wants it. All right, good. All right, guys, we are going to dip on out of here. Jason, how can we find you and your dealership when we're not in Seattle?
Auto Avia.
I'm using Instagram at auto_Avia. I just post some cool cars that are coming in and out, so check it out.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. Make sure you hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. Go to the platforms and say that you saw the cars on Bid Nerds. And Jason, thanks for hanging out. We'll get you back next time. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you. Goodbye. Bye. I'm going to hit a button. See you. Bye. Hey, guys, I got to tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. I'm going to come back real quick and say Porsche Henderson. Porsche Henderson is our new client, our new sponsor. We love Porsche Henderson. Bye.